Is my kid busting a move down there? Because it just sounds like there's either a stampede or he's breakdancing. Good song though, right? He likes that song. He always asks me in the car for high, high hopes. It's so funny. Wow, guys, I am so excited to see you guys all on here this morning. I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up because I love this book, and I love Eric Worre. I love what he does for the network marketing industry. And I'm kind of like the person, I don't know about you guys, not like I work better under pressure, but I have to vibe like when I'm talking about something. So sometimes I wait till like the night before or the morning of to get like my notes together so that I really vibe with like the moment. And it's crazy. As I was going through this book, I realized, so, when Jess was saying, if you don't have the physical copy, and yes, I use my post-service receipts as a bookmark clearly. But if you don't have a physical copy, you can get a physical copy like super easy. I think I got this one for free, and it was actually one that like when I did one of his opportunity, like it was like a 14-day challenge or something, he signed it. So like you can always grab these physical copies, and they're just great to have, especially for new people in your business. Like if you wanted to give this to them, like how cool. And so I open up the book, and I'll be honest, I hadn't opened this book very much because I have the Audible, and it's a lot easier as a mom to do Audible. And I opened up the book, and the first thing I opened it to was in this chapter, of course, that I just ripped out the bookmark for, was right at this page. And I was like, oh, this is fun. This is like all about the stuff that we're going to talk about. And I think this just goes in general. But I go right to this little spot that's kind of like highlighted, and it says, in network marketing, it doesn't matter what works, it only matters what duplicates. Doesn't matter what works, it only matters what duplicates. And that's what we're going to talk about today too, because I think an important part of what we share here about network marketing, about, even on the Daily Dose, for example, a big part of it too is, share this stuff with people on your team. I will say, just from experience, hey, everybody hopping on. I know that especially when I started learning a lot of stuff about social media, because network marketing can be a little bit like aggressive, if you will. We're all trying to feed our families. Maybe you're in, you and your friend or someone are selling the same health and wellness stuff. So when I first started with social media, I was very hesitant to share what I was doing with people. Because I knew it was working for me. And, people even in our company would be like, come on this Zoom and tell us what you do. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to tell them what I do, because then everyone will know. Here's the thing that you have to remember, right? It's exactly what he said. In network marketing, it doesn't matter what works, it matters what duplicates. So I learned really fast, right? Number one, there's enough for everybody to eat, always. Abundance mentality, always, right? It serves you a lot better to have that abundance mentality. At the same time, I've shared thousands of times now, almost for going on a 1.5 years social media strategies. Not everybody is going to do the do to get the get. That's just a fact. You could tell somebody right now, go post in your stories all the time. That's going to work for you. Bet you they might get off 50% chance that they're going to do it or not, right? So I'm sure you've got, people in your mind that you're thinking about. You're like, yeah, maybe that's you right now, but we're going to start doing the do to get the get. But maybe there's people on your team that they just need to hear something like what we're sharing within this book to understand that it's okay to restart. Or it's okay to get started. I know for some people, especially what Jess was talking about, the amateur part of this, some people just don't know what they don't know. And I know for me too, sometimes I'm like, gosh, didn't I say that 15 times to Mary? Like, why can't she just get it? Like, I've been there, okay? But you have to understand, for some people, the obvious isn't obvious. And I think sometimes as network marketers, even with a product or a service, right? We're like, don't they know that? Like, don't they get that? No, some people don't. Some things are not obvious to people. Haven't we learned common sense isn't common anymore? No, not in a bad way. But some things we just have to help people understand a little bit more. And, I hear a lot, especially on social media, that people are talking about value. And I think that's becoming a little bit of a saturated word, because everybody's like, value. And like, you're almost hearing it like, okay, I get it. Like, but what kind of value, and where is my value? And I think two, don't overthink that. Like your value might be your humor. Your value might be your inspiration. It might be your motivation. Your value, like I love Mama Val's, like you got this post, right? Like I'm sure there are people that are like, you know what? I didn't have this today. Thanks for posting that. I got this. Good morning, right? Your value doesn't have to be like, I'm number one top earner in my industry and this is how I did it. So, don't like think about that when you're thinking on social media, like as I'm adding my value or whatever it is. I saw this post on Jessie Lee Ward and I screenshotted it and I was going to use it, but I'm actually going to post it inside the group so you guys can see it. But she circled and pointed to this part in a book. And I have to figure out what book it is too. I was like trying to read around because you know me, I'm just nosy. I'm like, what book is that? I can't see. And I won't ever ask. So remember, there's people like me out there. But what she said in there is adding value, right? And do you want more followers? Add more value. Do you want more engagement or more people to share your content? Add more value. You want to get better results? Add more value. Yes, thank you, Jess. Just ask her. And I think about, that's why I said your value doesn't have to be something super knowledgeable that you have a degree in. I started sharing quotes, right? I've made a commitment to myself once a week to share quotes. And this wasn't, what I wanted to talk about this morning, but I'm going there now because it's vibing with me. If you go on my Instagram, I have a whole line of quotes that you'll see, like I've started for like the last 6 weeks. That's how I've gotten majority of my leads from Instagram. And if you click on one of my quotes, for example, right, you can view your insights on there. But for example, this is just one of them. It reached 4,391 people. So that was, and just in the people that liked it or commented on it, right? There was 211 people. 50%, probably 80% of those people are not following me or are not friends with me. So it was all people, and this is going to go into what I'm talking about now, finding prospects. This was all people I could have conversations with. Now, am I like sharing some like knowledgeable thing that, is gonna save someone from something? Is it financial advice? It's gonna get somebody out of debt? No, it was a quote about tacos, but I thought it was really funny. Apparently a lot of other people did too, right? I learned really fast that adding my value as far as on my Instagram, people enjoy like the humor quotes with me. They figure out what it is that gets people to tick. That's your value. Haas is our lives. Like every time he goes live, people are adding him and they're asking what he's doing or they love his personality, right? That's his value. That's what he's realized works to get him more engagement, to get him more people, to get more prospects, okay? So let's go all the way top. So how many times have you guys heard this? And that was warm lemon water, but now it's like lemonade, so that's weird. How many times have you guys heard this phrase? Or said it yourself, that's fine, okay? You can say either one. I don't know anyone, or I don't know enough people. My personal favorite, I've ran out of people to talk to. It's my personal favorite. We've all heard or said these things before, especially with people on our team or maybe in your mind. Sometimes it's people who are going to join the business and they tell you like, I can't do what you do. I don't know anybody, right? Like I can't do network marketing. I don't even have a network. Or sometimes it's people that have even been in the business for quite some time. And they're like, I've run out of people. That's literally my favorite one. I've talked to everybody on my Facebook. I'm like, man, wow, talk to that many people. That's great. No matter what, both of these are not true. Always. You can always there's always an objection we can have to both of these because, for example, I started my business with a very small network. I have a very small family. I don't even have any biological cousins. None of my aunts or uncles ever had children. That's how small my family is, okay? I built this business, 99% of it online, social media, completely that way, right? Talking to people that way. Then there's someone like my husband who knows everyone, who knows everyone, who knows everyone. We can't go anywhere without someone saying, hey, Haas, right? He's built this network offline and online too. So you can find prospects anywhere. It's not a matter of, and if you go back to, if you're reading the book in chapter 3, he talks about the success in network marketing is built on 3 things, right? Your product, number 1, your compensation plan, number 2, and number 3, you, what you're doing to grow your business. So if you think about that, right? as far as finding prospects, I want to tell you guys like one of my best places to find them. It's a secret though. Just lean in and listen. It's probably actually already in your hands. It's this thing. We use it so much. Isn't it incredible? But we use it for like other stuff like Candy Crush and Pinterest. And no, I'm just kidding. But think about when was the last time, for example, you actually went through the contacts. I know we talk social media, but I want to talk phone for a second. The actual contacts in your phone. I did that the other day because I had a friend message me. She wanted to go to lunch and I was like, man, I haven't talked to her in a long time. I bet you if you even went through the A's on your phone, you haven't spoke to half of those people in a minute. Because your contacts are way different than your contacts on your Facebook. I mean, at least mine are. Some of them I'm like, whoa, man, I haven't talked to that person in ages, right? So that's a full place where you can find prospects right there that's in your hands constantly, aside from the fact of social media, right? When I think of social media, I know I've spoken about this a couple of times, but I see a lot of new faces here. So I want to talk about groups, okay, and the importance of groups. I was on this thing Jessica was doing for our company. She was leading a afternoon Zoom luncheon talking about groups. Or maybe it was here. I don't know. My days are all mixing together now. But she's talking about how she went recently paleo and about how she joined some groups that were paleo. If you are not in groups that you are actually interacting on, you are sleeping on that tool, sleeping on it. That's where I find all of my prospects lately, to be honest with you, because number one, we have something in common right off the bat. Whatever it is that we're in that group for, we have in common, right? And then we go, that's why I was talking about adding value, right? One of your DMOs, your daily method of operations, if you really want to grow your business and grow your network, should be adding value to groups. And it's something as simple as if you're in a paleo group, you know, what's a recipe for dinner tonight? What's everybody's plans for dinner tonight? Or what's oh my God, I don't know anything about paleo. What's a mayo that's paleo? I don't know. You can figure that out, right? Like, and I've said before, I'm in the boy mom groups. You can join groups for everything, like golden doodle groups. I mean, there is a group for everything, Aldi groups. I mean, all you have to do is participate in them. And if it feels overwhelming to you, pick 2 to 4. I'm in like 6 that I really participate in because I do believe that like you can't do too much at one time and be like, ah. So I'm in like 6. Yeah, golden doodle groups are my favorite. People who love their golden doodles are just happy people. But, and you know, that's another thing. Find a group that you're vibing in. I know sometimes people join groups and they're like, oh gosh, this is really negative, or this isn't what I wanted to be. Okay, find another group, join another group. But find a group that you can add the value in, whether it's a question. And it doesn't have to be every single day that you're asking a question, but it should be daily that you're going in there and maybe answering questions or connecting with people, right? So that when people come to your page and they check out your page, which has got your posts, you've got stuff up in your stories about your product or service, you've got, you know, nice posts on your page and your timeline or whatever, they're going to be like, oh, I will accept this person's friend request, right? That's majority how we've got majority of customers in our business. They'll like add us after whatever it is in a group, or if Haas goes live. And then boom, 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 they see me doing something in my stories about my product, service. They're like, oh, yep, what's that? I want more info. You'll never run out of prospects if you're adding people to your network daily. Never, absolutely never. And finding them, I feel like, is where people have the struggle. But you have to remember, it's important, you know, and I've said this before, if you feel like you're showing the same movie to the same audience, it's important to go find new prospects, right? And that just means if you're posting daily and you're not ever adding people and you're not getting the engagement you want, you're showing the same movie to the same audience. You're gonna get the same results, right? And I do believe that some people, they need time to watch, fine, right? But if you're not, you know, like adding new people that are gonna get like, oh, what's that about, right? Or, and this is a very simple thing too. I heard Jess say this, this was on the company Zoom, I know that. And it made me think like, whoa, this is such a good point. She called it driving lines. So like, let's say, for example, you meet a new prospect and they join your business. Sometimes you don't know what's going to happen with people, you know, let's be honest. We never know. It's kind of like, you know, and man, do you guys love when you're like, this person's going to rock it out, or they don't, or you're like, this person's not going to rock it out, and then they do. And you're like, what the heck? Those are my favorite. But you sometimes don't know what's going to happen, right? So if you have a process in your business where you're doing this driving lines, you're going into their network with them and meeting people with them. Can't tell you how many people I know in this business because someone introduced me to them. Rhonda's a perfect example. She's a huge leader on our team. She got introduced to us through someone else who's not in our business anymore, but I would personally like to say, God bless you. So you think about that, right? Every time you bring in a new prospect, even if it's a customer, have them get you on a call or in a three-way chat or something where you can drive the lines. You can connect with their network. You're never going to be running out of prospects then. Even if they set you up with two people, right? Start the conversation with two people. That way, if that person decides that they can go, I still got Rhonda, right? And I can go, boom, introduce to that whole new network that I know for a fact works because I've watched it happen countless times in my life. So that's why I think that's such an important thing that we need to do in network marketing is don't feel like you're stepping on people's toes, right? Do it in the, I want to help you grow, because it may very well be them that is going to grow this business, but maybe they don't, maybe they fall off, maybe something happens. You just never know. You can connect and then have those prospects in your network. And I was talking to people yesterday actually about business cards. When I connect with people in my network, I don't even use business cards anymore. I'll be honest. I'm very eco-friendly, save the world, and use this. Again, add people on Facebook, add them in your contact if they don't have it. I mean, I feel like everybody has some kind of social something that you can add them on, but that way too, if I'm on the phone with BK and she's introducing me to Mary, hey, Mary, add me on Facebook so that Mary can then see what I'm doing. Oh yeah, QR code, that's really cool. Yeah, you can do those in Messenger too if you have Facebook. It's really cool. You can just like lay your phone above somebody's and it will add you guys, add their Facebook to your Facebook. But that's, again, another way that you're going to meet new people, have new people. Plenty of times, right? Especially in my business where I've said, okay, I've started a customer and I'm like, tag me on social media. Let's just say something happens with them. I'm grabbing all the people in that post and sending them friend requests and saying, hey, 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 right? That's all new network that then you can go into their network, help them grow their network. And you'd be doing the same thing, driving lines all the way down. I made a little joke though. I said, even with the Panda Express right now, you can absolutely meet people anywhere. You can meet them online. You can meet them in parks. There are so many places, even if you're not getting out and actually physically meeting people right now, like if you're still if you're at home and you need to find a way behind a computer, the social media is incredible through groups, right? Is incredible through Instagram. I know I talk about that a lot, but if you find the exact thing that ticks your value on Instagram, where you're going to have a couple, even if, for example, I know some of the people who were in the High Vibe retreat who got the hashtag hacker. LaShawn was one of them who shared it with me. If you're using good hashtags on your posts in Instagram, and it doesn't have to be 30, most of mine I use like 6 to 8, you can get a good organic growth where you can start going through following people because those people are following the same hashtags as you, right? That's how they found your post. Whether it's boy mom, Detroit mom, like I always use my Enneagram, or gosh, I said that wrong, I'm sure again. I use Pisces a lot, right? Like those people are following those exact hashtags. So it's like joining a group in Facebook. Same thing, they have a commonality with you. And I always, if someone likes my post, and it's incredible, sometimes I'll go and I'll follow the person and they're like from my area and we have like the same hashtags, like the same posts, right? Start a conversation. So that's the next thing I want to go into is when you are finding the prospects and you have the prospects, right? What's the next step? It's ice breaking. It's starting a conversation. You have to say something to someone. I have just a kind of little icebreaker where I introduce myself. I say like, hey, I'm Sydnee from Metro Detroit. I'm a boy mom. I usually like to make people laugh. I say I have 3 sons. One's 4, one's a golden doodle, and one's 39. But it's just something to get the conversation going with people, right? So that I'm not adding them and never saying anything, because then when you decide that you want to like do a blitz in your business in a year and you've never talked to BK and you added her a year ago, it's going to probably be a little awkward if you're like, hey, do this or try this now, right? And I know you guys have heard me say before, I do believe in cold messaging 100%. So, you can go that route. And this is kind of the route I go, but I do believe like at least starting a conversation, breaking the ice with people you don't know is a great way. I brought this book out and I'm going to share it. It's a super, I think I got it for like $7, but he literally gives, it's called Icebreakers by Big Al Schrader. He gives you examples on how to break ice with people, like conversations, literally. The whole book is conversations. But one of the things he talks about, an example of, is when he's in the store. And this reminded me of Haas. I'm like, this is totally something Haas would do. But he asked the cashier in the store, as she's ringing him up, do you want to work 40 hours a week for someone else's goals, or do you want to work for your own? Is this what you want to do for the rest of your life, basically? And she was like, no, definitely not. I'm just working here like most people are to get by, right? And he's like, take my card, call me when you're off work. I can help you build a business this way, right? And I think, wow, if somebody would have said that to me at Dollar Tree, I would have clocked out right there and been like, let's go, I'm out, let's figure something out. Sometimes people are just not there yet, right? They don't understand. Some people I find don't even know what the gig economy is. They don't even know what network marketing is. Some people, like the influencers on TikTok, I love them. You talk to them sometimes, which that's one of the things I'm working on right now is recruiting some big people like that. They're like, what's network marketing? I'm like, dude, you're sharing, some tea gummies. It's the same thing. They're probably not even paying you as much, right? You're probably getting like 5% of your sales from that, from your bajillion followers to recommend a gummy. Affiliate marketing and network marketing is like the same thing, but there are some people that just don't know what it's about. So maybe you need to break the ice and say, hey, just like Jess was saying on Monday, have you ever seen, my favorite one too is the I'm sorry's. When you're going in with the icebreakers, I'm so sorry that I came through like this 5 years ago, like all, blah, blah, because I've done it a million times where I've gone back and I saw that I sent like a message this big and I'm like, Sydnee, how dare you? You didn't even say hi to her, didn't even use her name. But you can say, I'm sorry. I'm actually, I want to share in a good way what I'm doing online now to make money on the side. Do you want to know more about that? Right. And then maybe some people are like, yeah, actually, I thought you were just like, I thought your Facebook got hacked 5 years ago. So I just opened it and closed it. I can't tell you how many times too I do that to people. I'm like, I thought your Facebook got hacked. Ice breaking too can be things like saying happy birthday to people. Our birthday is a part of your DMO. That's a great way to start an icebreaker. Happy birthday, Mary. What's new? What have you been up to? That's a great way to go through your Facebook messages. Through your Facebook friends. And I love to what Jessie Lee says, like if you say happy birthday to somebody like 2 times in a row and they haven't said anything to you, bye. There's a million people out there. Don't keep going back to the same people. Using polls, okay? I had someone on our team, he was asking about polls, and I actually made like a little video that you can use. So I'll post that in the High Vibe Tribe. But using polls on Instagram or Facebook, do not sleep on this. Such a great icebreaker. Yes. Oh, I like that, Mary. That's cute. She sends them a text if she has her phone number too. Happy birthday. That's so personable. I like that. I'm writing that down. People like text. I like to send cards too, because it's just something different. But polls, okay? So if you're using polls, for example, it doesn't have to be anything about your product, service, or opportunity. Polls in your business is a great way to break ice and have conversations. If you're somebody, you're just like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to have conversations. I'm introverted. I feel you, okay? I don't know either. It's very awkward for me. Haas is the one that's like, hey, where'd you get that shirt? I'm like, oh my gosh. I started a conversation yesterday about chamoy. I was asking people where I could find chamoy, which is like this, it's like a little Mexican candy dip thing. I don't know. You guys have to try it though. It's incredible. Mary even helps me out on that. But I started like 8 conversations with people. Y'all, this morning, this lady, she sent me the number to someone in Southwest Detroit. I haven't never talked to this lady on my Instagram. Never. We've been having a conversation since last night about chamoy. But this morning I was like, thank you so much for your help. What is it that you do? I see you're she's in the Michigan area, ice breaking, right? We had a conversation about the chamoy, fine, whatever. Then I felt it was my time to go in and ask the question, what is it that you do, right? Questions that are going to move the conversation kind of to where we want it to go, or to figure out what we want to figure out, right? But also at the same time, when you're having conversations with people, your business is growing. If you're looking right now and you're like, my business is at a halt, how can I get more customers or prospects? Get more conversations going. Start having more conversations with people. Polls is the quickest way. Y'all, easy things like who makes their bed in the morning, or who, what do you have? What's the first thing to drink in the morning? Like, just put a poll, something simple. Don't stop if like one time no one says anything. That's fine. Keep going, keep going, keep going. But also what happens is when you're engaging with people and you're having more conversations, the algorithm's going to start pushing you more because you're having more conversations with people. They're going to push you more to, it's big in Texas, Amy. Sorry, I scrolled, I saw Chamois. The algorithm is going to push you more to the people that you're having the conversations with too. So if I'm having this full-on conversation with Mary for a week, right? She's going to get my stories up on her stories all week long. And because I'm consistent in my stories, she's going to see me pumping out in my stories all week long and hopefully ask, right? And even when you do your polls, I recommend doing a poll at least once a week about your product, service, or opportunity. Like whenever your call to action day is that week, throw in a poll with a call to action to your product, service, or opportunity, where someone can say, even if it's a yes or no one, right? Do you want to try this? Or would you do this? Right? Yes or no? Because then you can ice break with people. If they said yes, go talk to all those people too. I know that seems like the hard part for people, but that's the part where I respond directly from their response in the stories. So like if Mary clicks yes, and I go to the poll in my stories and I have all the people who clicked yes, you know how it comes up like yes and no. I don't like those no people, but I still talk to them. The yes people, we start with them. But the yes people, if you click on their yes, it will send a reply to their message, like saying Sydnee's replying to your responsive stories. So it's like an icebreaker. It's like, oh, you replied to my stories. Hey, Mary, thanks so much. I wanted to know, like, what do you use the chamois on, right? Get all the good stuff in the comments with chamois going. It's so great. I'm writing all of it down. So those are perfect icebreakers. Polls, questions, things within your stories, right? And you can use that same stuff on your Facebook timeline, questions or polls or this or that. Some of my favorite ones are like fill in the blanks. Like you could start today with something as simple as fill in the blank of the weather where I'm at is blank. And just have people start telling you what the weather's like where they're at. It's your job, though, as a network marketer that's looking for prospects to continue conversations with those people, to start the conversations with those people. So that's kind of why I like to do more stories where I'm doing polls and questions, because then we can get like in a personal conversation with them. If you do it on your page, you comment back, right? But then I got to like find a way to drag it into message, which is kind of weird for me as an introvert sometimes. So I like to start in stories. That's just me. You do what works best for you. Oh, I love that. Mary said she did a mental health check-in yesterday with emojis. It got a lot of interactions and asked people how they were doing on a deeper level. I love that. Yeah, you could do, I mean, there's so much stuff you can do to be able to start conversations with people that does not have to do with your business, but it's you providing the value. And then, right, in chapter 3 of this book, which I wanted to talk to, but I'm running out of time, he talks about how you take stuff from let me tell you, about this or that, to listening exactly to what they need. So maybe some of the people that Mary's talked to about mental health check-in, they need a good community. They need people around them that are going to lift them up and inspire them. And that's what Mary has to offer, right? So if you listen sometimes, that's a way better way to figure out exactly what they need so that you can give it to them. Because we all have things that we can give and we can share with people, right? So I hope that, what you got out of today was that you're never going to run out of people unless you stop talking to people, unless you stop talking to the people or stop finding people. To be honest, you could start today. If you said, I want to start all over today with a whole new network, you could start adding people today. And by the end of the month, you'd have a full new network of people to start prospecting, to start sharing your product, service, or opportunity with. You can always, adding people is a DMO that I will never stop doing. If I don't do anything, I'm adding people. I'm adding new people, adding new people. I love having conversations with people I don't know. I find that it's just a lot easier for me and them. So if that's something that will help with you, do. But even think about too, if your network right now is if you're looking at your timeline and it's people you want to switch up, start unfollowing some people or start unfriending some people, mess with your algorithm a little bit. I had this conversation with Heidi Mountain a couple weeks ago. Sometimes you got to play with your algorithm a little bit. If you're not seeing what you like, if you start adding people and you start unfriending and unfollowing people that you're just kind of not jiving with, you'll see your whole algorithm switch up, right? And then you'll start seeing more engagement, hopefully of things that you want and people that want to actually engage in your business. But start today with some kind of poll, some kind of something where people can have a conversation with you. Start having conversations with people today with something as simple as maybe how's the weather, or what's, your first thing to drink, whatever it might be, something super simple. But also remember, in network marketing, it's not what works, it's what duplicates. So think about that too. Something simple that somebody on your team could look at and say like, oh, that was cool. She did pop or water and she got all this stuff. I'm going to do that too. Right. I hope you got a ton out of today because I had a lot to say, I feel like. And like I said, just keep talking to people and you'll keep growing your business. Keep having those conversations and business will keep growing for you. We will see you tomorrow. We're going to have our first Thursday with Mr. Haas. I'm excited for that. So